Do you believe in the power of the goddess and the magic of gardening? If so, then I hope you'll enjoy today's story. So let me take you back to the early spring, when the trees were all in bloom, when the plants and flowers were coming back to life, when the world was greening up, and my imagination was awash with ideas for the new garden season, and springtime gardening fever was in full swing. I have a garden border, you see, that is looking very much worse for wear after the cold winter, and in that border is a statue, a goddess of the garden, who was looking very lonely all by herself in the sad and unkempt flower border. A companion was what she needed. So off I went on the hunt in search of a second garden goddess. But before I introduce you, and before I start any of the flower planting, I have a bit of tidying up to do first. So this is the state of affairs in early spring, when my garden was in complete disarray. So let's get this area tidied, back under control, and ready for a rebirth. So I've got some new plants to go in here, which I will show you now. I've got some of this gorgeous white saxifrage here. Absolutely love these flowers. So I've got 6, 12, 18 little saxifrage plants all together. And I think I'm going to plant them in this border here to complement the cherry rose. Here I've got a beautiful rose, which I did cut back, I think, at the end of autumn. And it's called Cherry Girls. It's beautiful cherry red colour. And my lovely little fairy. And I've got an awful lot of tidy up to do. There we go. And I've got this part of the border here. I've got my lupins, which I grew from seed, and they're growing back. I really need to put some more ground cover down. I did have loads of ajuga, which did really well last year, but it seems to have died back in the winter. So I've got to be careful about not pulling that out and hoping that it does grow back eventually over the springtime. So as I get to work, let me tell you all about my plans for this border and why I want to dedicate this part of the garden to the goddess. Gardening for me is more than just growing plants and flowers. It's a practice that gives me a spiritual connection to the land, to nature, and makes me feel alive and in touch with the beauty of the natural world. I want my garden to be a sacred space, one that provides beauty, peace and tranquility, and also feels magical and enchanting. And nothing could complement the magic and enchantment of the flowers and plants more than a goddess. A beautiful magical being who protects and blesses the land with beauty. Goddesses have long been associated with gardens and plants and flowers. There are numerous goddesses throughout the various myths and pantheons who are said to reign over the garden realms. The first that comes to mind is Gaia, who is said to be the goddess of the earth creation and Mother Nature. Anthea is the Greek goddess of gardens, flowers, swamps and marshes. Pomona is the Roman goddess of fruitful orchards and gardens. Gerda is the Norse goddess of gardening and horticulture. And here in Wales we have our own goddess of spring, flowers and transformation, and she is called Blodeuwydd, whose name literally translates to flower face. There are of course many more goddesses, but there are 2 other special goddesses from these pantheons who I've chosen to honour in my garden, and I will tell you more about them later. I did originally say I was going to plant this saxifrage in this border here, but I changed my mind because I didn't think the ajuga was coming back quick enough, and I wanted some ground cover. And I think I've made the right choice because this looks so magical. It's already spreading and it seems to be doing quite well since I planted it. So very pleased with that, and I hope it spreads out more. Right, well, I'm going to go to the garden centre now to get some seeds, but before I do, I want to show you something at the front of the house. So this is the hawthorn hedge right outside my house, and it's laden with blooms this year. It's absolutely gorgeous. It smells beautiful too. And I really love this colour palette, the white and the green together. So I think I'm going to use this as inspiration for my flower border. I think it'll be really elegant with the garden goddesses, and I've also got the cherry red rose in the middle, so that will help it to really pop. So here we are in one of my happy places, the garden centre. Just look at this seed section, row upon row of future flower possibilities. I don't even know where to start. I want to buy one of everything, but I can't, so I must focus on the white flowers only. Oh, this Lavaterra is beautiful with the pink streaks. And Cosmos is one of my favourites, but which variety should I go for? Oh, I love these arum lilies, very pretty with the blush pink. These Nemophila are unusual with the splashes of purple. Oh, and Shasta daisies, although they don't flower till the following year, and I want quicker results than that. This yarrow looks dreamy. I like the idea of adding a wildflower to the border. And now on to the bulb section. How gorgeous. I love these calla lilies, although they're too colourful for the white flower border. But oh my, lily of the valley are the most whimsical fairy tale flowers there are. I simply can't walk away without these. And bonus, it's buy one get one free. So what freebie shall I choose? Oh, beautiful pastel pinky peach dahlias. Yes, please. So I've got a lovely selection of seeds and bulbs in this bag from the garden centre. So I'm going to show you exactly what I've got now. But firstly, let me show you this plant, which I got from Home Bargains, and I got 6 of them because they were $1.99 each, which is an absolute bargain because they're so much more expensive in the bigger garden centres. So this is Cerastium, I think it's pronounced, commonly known as snow in summer, I believe. And this plant provides a creeping cushion of silver grey foliage which spreads quickly to form a weed suppressing mat. From late spring, masses of white flowers appear, covering foliage in a carpet of snowy blooms. So I think that's ideal for this border because this garden used to be a farmer's field, so it's just full of weeds. So this might really help to suppress them, and especially whilst I'm waiting for the seeds and the bulbs to bloom. This will provide some ground cover. So all of these seeds here can be sown directly into the border, apart from this one, the arum lily, which has to be sown indoors. So I'll do that one here in the greenhouse. So let me introduce you to my beautiful goddesses. So this is the first statue that I bought, and I've named her Chloris after the Greek goddess of spring, flowers and new growth, because I think she's got a very Grecian style, especially her attire and her noble looks. Her name's derived from the Greek word chloros, which denotes the vibrant green colour of new vegetation in spring. According to Greek myth, she was originally a nymph on the islands of the Blessed, but she was abducted by Zephyrus, the god of the west wind, who fell in love with her and forced her to marry him, after which she was transformed into the deity of springtime and flowers. And she is credited with creating the rose after finding a nymph lying lifeless on the ground one day in the forest and transforming her into a beautiful rose along with the help of other deities. I think that is very apt for my goddess Chloris, because she lives here against my climbing rose and she looks beautiful against the peachy roses when they're in bloom in June. And this is my second beautiful statue, who I've named Flora, after the goddess of springtime gardens and flowers from the Roman pantheon, because I think she's got a much more Roman aspect and style. The name Flora ultimately means blossoming. She was one of several fertility deities, and the Romans had a special celebration dedicated to her, which was called Florelia, to mark the arrival of spring, where she was honoured with drinking, dancing and the adornment of flowers. Flora likewise is said to have created the rose from a lifeless nymph. And so the Romans also held a secondary festival dedicated to her called Rosalia, held on the 23rd of May, which celebrates her connection to the rose, along with honouring the dead. According to Roman legend, she was also forced into marrying a wind god, this time named Favonius, who she tried to run away from. Favonius managed to catch her, and once married, he gave her dominion over the flowers. Chloris and Flora are said to be Greek and Roman counterparts, and their stories have been assimilated in many ways. So I think their names are very apt as they stand together in this flower border, with no awful wind gods in sight, thank goodness, and they work their magic together. And I think they make this flower border extra whimsical. So before I can plant anything, I need to prepare this soil ready for planting and sowing the seeds, so I'm going to get the rake out. I do have lots more plans for this garden. I'd like to create a secret woodland garden over here where the white beam tree is, and enclose it and surround it with trees and greenery. I'd like some rose arches running through the middle with climbing roses all up the sides. I'd also like to get rid of these phormium eventually because they are beasts, and I'd like to replace those with double arches and have more climbing roses. So I'm just going to take my time and enjoy the process, because that's what gardening is all about, having the patience. Before I do any planting or seed sowing, I need to feed my rose. Got this lovely rose food. Absolutely stinks, so it's bound to be good for it. So I need like a handful, I think. Oh God, just dropped them all over the floor. I'll just scatter some round. So I'll water those in later. So cerastiums are in place, time to dig and plant. let's figure out where everything's going to go. Well, I think that I've bought dud bulbs because they're supposed to look like this, and what I've actually got is this. So I think I'm too late planting these. I don't even know why they were still selling them in the shop, but anyway, you know, lesson learned. I'll abandon those and try those next year. So the yarrow is 45, so mid-size. Let's have a pile for mid-size. Then Lavatera is 70, large size. Then Argemone is 40, which is same, more or less, as the yarrow, those together. Cosmos, the largest, 120. That can go right at the back. And then Nemophila is 15, so that's one for the very front. Exciting newsflash. The flower goddesses have looked favourably and kindly upon me after the Lily of the Valley bulb fiasco, because I went to the garden centre today and lo and behold, in the plant cemetery, waiting just for me, was this absolute little beauty, a Lily of the Valley. Now, I've never seen this in the garden centres before as a plant. I've only ever seen the bulbs, so I couldn't believe it when I saw this. It was originally £9, which seems very expensive for one single tiny plant, but it's worth it. It's Lily of the Valley. But it was reduced to £4.50, so obviously it has my name on it, and it was calling me to take it home, so I'm extremely happy.
Flower violet green, lily of the valley on my knees. All the things I left behind, save this little place in my mind. I don't wanna lose you.
Seeds and seed compost. Oh my goodness, I've just read the instructions and it says that it takes 1 to 3 months for these to germinate, and you also have to soak them overnight in warm water. So I don't think that these arum lilies are going to be part of my flower border this year. But I'm going to soak the seeds tonight and get these seeds started tomorrow. And then hopefully the plants will grow and I maybe just will be able to enjoy them next year. So we'll move on and plant some gladioli instead. I've run out of pots, so I think I'm going to have to use these ones here, which the Nerene's in, because they are already in pots inside these bigger pots. So let's get these gladioli potted up, ready for life in the garden. And I'll explain why I haven't bought many brand new plants to fill up this border for quicker results. The cost of buying brand new plants to fill up any garden border can easily get out of hand. I'm trying to make a conscious effort to grow plants and flowers for this garden from seeds and bulbs from now on, so that I can keep costs down and also enjoy the process of seeing a plant grow from a tiny seed or bulb into a fully formed flower through my own work and effort. Ideally, I would love every square inch of this garden to be filled with spectacular blooms and bursting in colour. But gardens are creations that evolve over time, so I will do as much as I can with what I have in the moment and try to live by the famous words of Audrey Hepburn, who said that to plant a garden is to believe in tomorrow. So it's been a beautiful spring day. I've been out in the garden all day doing work. I've got my washing hanging on the line and I'm finally starting to see the garden come together. So this is my idea of bliss. So very exciting development. I think I finally started to see life in this border and some of the seedlings have finally started to grow. I'm pretty sure that they are seedlings and not weeds. So let me show you. So here we have a couple and I'm pretty sure that this is definitely one of the little seedlings because it's got the 2 leaves. Same again here, and then there's lots more over here. So I'm so excited to finally see these starting to sprout. There's lots more there too. So I'm just waiting for some of them to grow over here. There's one here, I'm not sure if that's a weed, but I'm going to leave it and wait and see. We've got some there and there and there. Yay! This is so satisfying to see. Tiny one just there. So I think I'm going to close this first chapter on the transformation of the goddess flower border because I need to wait for the seedlings to grow. And there are lots of things that I would like to add to the border, but the budget has been exhausted for now. So I hope you've enjoyed gardening in honour of the goddess with me in this video, and I'll look forward to sharing updates with you soon. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.